Sechta Sanhedrin Daf Kuftes Amud Aleph, 17 lines on the top. The last story that we learned was with Nachum Ish Gamzu. I didn't finish the whole story, but the kids of the story was that the people of his city wanted to send a present to the Kesar. And they said we should send it together with Nachum Ish Gamzu, who always has miracles with him. And when he came to this hotel to stay overnight, they asked him, what do you have in there? So he told them, Nachum Ish Gamzu said, this is a chest that he has to bring to the president from his city. By night, they opened up the chest and they emptied out everything in it and they put in sand. And he came to the king with the chest, and the king got upset. He says, "What are you making a joke out of me?" So the Eibishter made that Eliyahu Hanavi should look like a minister, and told the king, maybe this earth is the earth of Avraham Avinu, that he threw earth and it turned into swords, and he threw the straw and it turned into arrows. And they said, okay, we'll test it. And they tested it on a city that they were never able to conquer. And with this earth, they were able to conquer it. And we're up to the last words of this story. So the servants of the Kesar brought Nachum Ish Gamzu into the place where the treasures were, Amari, and they said to him, take whatever you want. Malya live sifta dahaba. Nachum Ish Gamzu filled up the whole chest with gold, with all the things that he saw there. Yahada, when he returned to the same hotel. They said, those people of the hotel, my Amtas Levei Malka, what did you bring to the Kesar that because of that he gave you such a tremendous covet? Whatever I took from here, that's what I brought there. So they heard, it's their earth that caused all these miracles and everything. So they said, maybe we should do it. And Shaklu, and they went and they filled up their own chest with the earth of their city. And they brought it to the Kesar, and they told the Kesar, this earth is the same earth that Nachum Ish Gamzu brought. And they tested it out, and they saw it's not. It's zero. So therefore, they killed all those people who were from the Achsanya, from the hotel that had stolen from Nachum Ish Gamzu, who tried to bring this earth to the Kesar in order that they should be repaid. And they got repaid with Misa. The Deir Haflaga do not have a chelek in Eilam Haba. The Deir Haflaga means that that was scattered. What did they do? What was the sin that because of that they lost the chelek in Eilam Haba? Amr the Beir Rav Yeshila. In the basement of Rav Yeshila, they said that Nivna Migdal and Allah, they said, let us build a tower and go up to the skies. And break it with axes, in order that the water should drip out till there's no more water, that the Eibishter could put a marble over us. Meaning that so they laughed on this Piddish. If that's what the Kavanah was, to go to the Rakia, leave the Torah, they should have built the tower on the top of the mountains, not in a valley. Rather, said that it was divided into three groups. One group said, Naila, let us go up to the tower of Menei and live over there. That if the marble comes upon us, the water won't fall on us because of the height of the Migdal. We're so high, so it's not going to hurt us. One group said, Naila, let's go up to the tower and serve idols. Meaning, they put in, they felt that over there, they made a cheshbon that since there'll be ba'achtos, there won't be a union of the whole reason why the marble came, because they were shtufim begezel. But if they're together ba'achtos, so if they're together with the achtos, together with ba'achtos, and they'll be friendly to one another, Hashem won't bring a marble, even if they'll be Another Pizvach in the third group said, Naila, let us go to the top of the tower and ask Muhammad, let us have a war. Let them fight against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyachol. And over the Medrash brings down, what did they do? They had put a sword in the Getchke's hands, and it should seem it should seem as if that their God is fighting Hashem. So either or they wanted to actually have a war with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The group that said that we should go up and settle there, everybody together. Hashem scattered them, and that they should be spread out throughout the whole world. The group that said, let's go and have a war, they've been turned into monkeys. And to spirits without any form of a guf. And they do have a tzura of Adam. They eat and drink just like people. The lilin is a tzura of Adam, but the difference is that they also have wings. Like the Gemara will say later on. This one that said, let's go up and serve idols, on them it says, Kisham Bala Hashem, Safas Kol Haaretz. Over there, the Eibishter was mevalvel their languages that they shouldn't be able to communicate with each other. Tanya, we learned from Rabbi name, says, Kulam, all those that build a tower, L'Shem Avodas Zichram Niskavnu. They had in mind to build a L'Shem Avodas Zichram. It's written here that at their Haflaga they said, let's build a city with a tower, and the tower that reaches to the Shemaim and Nasa Lanu Shem, and make ourselves a name. And it says in Shmais, when they gave to the Avodah Zarah, that they shouldn't mention the shame of Elokim Achedim. So too, when it says shame, let's make ourselves a name, it means a getchke. Just like over there it means idol. So too here it means Avodah Zichram. Rabbi Yechon said, this was the seif of the Migdal Shlish Nisaf, a third burnt Shlish Tachnain, the last third Nivla was swallowed in the earth. Shlish and the middle on Kayim exists till today on Kark. The ear of where the tower is makes a person forget. That's how the Eibishter was Geyser. That whoever stands in the place where he's able to see the ear of the Migdal and the height and its looks of its height, he'll forget. And therefore, the Anshe der Haflaga themselves forgot the language. Amar Yosef, Babel, Ubursiv, that are found in the ear of the Migdal. Babel Ubursiv, which is Simen La Torah, is a bad Simen for the Torah because their Abba makes them forget their learning. So, my Bursiv, what does Bursiv mean, and why is it that it makes you forget? What's the word, even the word? Is a siman ra. Rabbi Yasi, very shafi. The samach or suf or sif is exchangeable for shid, very shafi, which means a bird that gets emptied out from its water. And so whoever comes into the city forgets his learning, like a bird that's emptied out from its water. So too bubble is forgetful that they forgot the languages, as we said before. Sag you mal answer day in like answer is don't have a answer is day in like it says in the passage answer is the answer's name were evil and sinners to Hashem made a lot. The Lashon Roim is referring to this world, and the Chatayim, the sinners, is Misyachis, is referring to the Eilam Haba. Rabbi Yehuda said the Kavanah is Roim begufam, that they were Roim evil in their bodies because they were Shtufei Zimah, they were committing adultery. Chatayim b'mamayinam, they were sinners in the money bein ad machavede. Roim hainu begufam, which is the Zimah, like we said, is Nus. Where do we see that? Roim refers to this Nus by Yosef, that he said to the wife of Potiphar, who was his master, when she wanted to sin with him, he says, how can I do such a grave sin? And I'll be a sinner against Hashem. Chatoyim and sinners. So there you see, Roim is with Geish, she wanted to commit that he should live with her. Then you have adultery. Zima. The chatoim, and the chatoim is b'ma'ina. The Siva says by somebody who withholds from lending his friend money because he's afraid that the shvius will come and the chayv will become batal. And you will be a chet. So you see, the word chet in that pasuk is referring to money issues that a person doesn't want to lend money because he's afraid Shemitah will be mishamit. It says, Rav Yehuda is mamshech to the Hashem. It says, "Vanshi is doing roim v'chatin la Hashem." What does it mean la Hashem? Zubich Hashem. That means that they cursed Hashem. That they recognize who Hashem is, and nevertheless they purposely rebelled against Hashem. Not that they sinned without kavanah. No. They had a strong Yetzirah. Even though they knew it was Hashem, they wanted to rebel. We learned in the Braisa, the top, the Lashon, it says, Royim and Chatoim. Royim, V'mayim, V'chatoim, Begufam. Royim means with the money, the reverse of what we said before. And Chatoim means Begufam, that they sin with their guf. Royim, V'mayim, Ksiv. The Royim is referring to money received, that it says, and somebody who withheld from lending his friend money before Shnas HaShemitah. It says, means a lashon of evilness by withholding, lending money before Shemitah. The Chatoim. And the word Chatoim is begufam, is referring to the guf of committing adultery. They say, where do we see that? By Yesa, where it says by the wife of Potiphar, that wife of Potiphar wanted to live with her. Chatas lelikim. It says Chatasi. I'll be a sinner against Hashem. So you see, Chatasi is referring to the guf. Hashem, Zubich Hashem. Hashem is referring to cursing Hashem. Is referring to this spilling of blood. The answer is done. Were rotzchin. Never like it says in the pasuk. Dam naki shafim Menashe haben meid. It says just like by Menashe, it describes the word meid that the blood spilled a lot. So too by Anshes Daim, you can learn out when it says meid, it's referring to shvichas dam. Tanu Rabban Yolan Anshes Daim learn this God will be shvil. Atav sheish bi lam Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Anshes Daim didn't take pride in themselves and go against Hashem only because of the goodness that Hashem gave them. What is written in the pasuk in Erev about Zdaim? Eretz Mimena Yetzalachem. Eretz, that before the land, Zdaim was destroyed, it gave forth bread, and it was filled with all kinds of production of food. It was all good. And this place was converted, transformed into fire. Mekayim, Sapir, the place had the stones, Sapir Havana, its stones were sapphire, Afris of light, and the dust was gold. Nasav lo yadai oyed. Her ways, the Gavnovim didn't pass. V'lo shezafata ein ayah. And the Meraglim, the spies, over there, you had no spies digging to steal. And there weren't any wild beasts trespassing. Nor were there any lions trespassing. Amru, the Anshe name said, since our land is filled with food, after is over the dust is with gold, and we have everything that we need, b'shefa. Why do we need these passerbys? They're only passing by to diminish our wealth. Come and we will find the laws for these that pass by from our land, meaning we'll treat them very harshly so they won't even bother coming by again. It's never like it says in the Pasuk Paritz, Nachal me'im gar. Hashem made that the rivers should break and give forth fire and sulfur, that it should burn down the whole Zdaim. And he threw it out because why? But the Anshe Zdaim who mistreated those that passed by the city, Dalu, they were destroyed. And Eneshno means they were disgraced. They died in a disgrace. Since they sinned, and they took pride in the sin from withholding Archim to pass by, because of that, because of all the goods that Hashem gave them. So Hashem destroyed them. What is the kavanah of the pasuk? Till when will you scheme and plot against these people? You'll murder all of them like a leaning wall, a fence that was pushed. It comes to teach you that the Anshis would put their eye on those passerbyers who had money, and they would place them next to a wall that was about to fall. And they would push the wall all upon him, and then and after he died, they would come and take his money. What is this that it says in the pasuk? They dug in the dark under the houses. The day Chitmu sealed lamay to them. They did not know light. That the Anshi's name placed them eyes on those that have money, and they would give this aromatic, expensive fragrance to them. And the rich people would place it in the house of where they stored their valuables. In the evening, that his name would come and go after the fragrance, and kekela, like a dog who sniffs around through the smell, he finds things. Should never, like it says in the pasuk, yamu. And they would return in the evening and like bark kakela, like a dog. And they would surround the city of Vayim, and they would come and dig out over the place where the smell of the fragrance where it was, and that's how they would find all the hidden treasures of the Ashirim and Neitnais and Mame, and they would steal the money. And when we said the pasuk that by day they seal themselves in, never knowing the light, so the sealing is sealed, meaning the sealing of the treasures. They would seal up the money by day. And that's what they stole by night through the fragrance. That's what they dug out and stole. What it says about Anshi's name, naked, they went to sleep overnight without a lavush, without garments to protect them from the cold. They would chase away the chamer of the Yisaimim, and they would take away from the Almana the ox coming with a bilbil that she owed money, and they're taking it as a mashkin. They would move up the mark of their land into your land and say it's their land. They stole the starter's flock of sheep, and they fed it in the fields, which they moved the markers. That they would bring them swiftly to their kever like Anibav, and they would rush them to lie them on the hill of the kever, which was made like a mount. That's Rabbi Yosi Dashnin on the pasuk that they would dig at night the houses. By day it was sealed off. They were sealed off, and they didn't know the light. So he explained, after that, the Rasha, people in his time went and dug out 300 tunnels to steal from the people. From the Ashirim. The Ashirim came to come and Saturday, and they were being Mitzvah Rabbi Yosi. They said to Rabbi Yosi, you gave them a plan, attack, how to steal, because he spoke about how the Anshi's name stole and through the perfumes. So that's what they did over here, because he gave them a tax. So the Ganabim came and stole from the Ashirim over there. Amalahu, so Rabbi Yosi said, did I know that Ganabim come to my Dasha? If I would have known that those that come to my dasha are not straight people, I wouldn't have said it, of course. But I thought that what kind of people come to my dasha? People are not chashudim to do like the sins of Sdoim. When Rabbi Yosi passed away, the that the streets and the pipes of Tzipori Dam was filled with blood. So you see that he was really one of the dwellers there. And since he was a great person, that was the sign how great he was. And that's why the blood was a sign that how great he was. And how they were wrong for telling off Rabbi Yossi that he gave the Ganabim ideas how to steal from the Ashirim. The answer said, the East one who has one ox, has to graze all the behemoths of the city for one day. The Leslie, if he doesn't even have one ox, he has to graze the animals for 2 days. There was this Yasm and Almada that had no shvarim at all. They gave him to graze the animals of his name. He went that Yasm out of anger, took it, and he killed these oxen. After that, the Yasm said to the owners of the shvarim, this is how you should divide the skin of the dead shvarim. This late to the nishkal chad mashka. One who has one ox should take one skin. The less late to the nishkal trei mashke. One who doesn't have any oxen at all should take 2 skins. So the Baal HaShvarim said, "My height, what is this? What kind of a cheshbon is this?" He said, the Yasm said to the Baal HaShvarim, so the cheshbon is that at the end of the din, benegay to dividing the skin has to be similar to the cheshbon at the beginning. Just like at the beginning, when you make a cheshbon, how many days should a person graze the behemoths of the city? These lay to the mare chadyem. One who has one ox has to graze all the animals of the city for 1 day. Or the less late to the mare treyem. Somebody who doesn't have any oxen grazes for 2 days. So too, the seif din is when they come to divide the skin of the oxen and die. So the islechat to the lishkelchat. If the person has one ox, he takes 1 skin, or the less late to the lishkel tray. If he doesn't have an ox, then he takes 2 skins. The oven b'ma'abara neisach hatzuzah. Somebody who takes his goats over a bridge, over the Nar, so then he has to pay the 1 zuz. But if he doesn't go over the bridge, rather he walks them and in the water, through the water, and he swims with them, then he has to pay 2. Somebody who had a shura of bricks that he put together, the Anshis name, each one would come and take 1 brick. And when he would come and ask them for pay, Amalei, each one would say to him, I only took one brick. What did I make you lose? It's nothing. Since he was unable to take everyone at once, so let us say if he would lose all the money that he put into making all these rows of stones. And so too, when someone spread out garlic with onions to dry up, people of his name, each one would take 1 onion, 1 barley, and when the bottom would come and ask for pay, Amalei, each one would say, all I took was 1. What did I cause you to lose? And so they would make them lose. But the guy who put out to dry the onions and the garlic, the garlic and the onions that he put out to dry, he would lose all of them. There were 4 of the Dayanim Hayibas Daim, and they were called on the name of the action. Shakrai means a liar, Shakrun Rai is the head of the liar, Zaifi, a forger, Masli Dinan, and somebody perverts the din. So you see, Al Shem, they piskei din, they paskin, and we'll see it from the Maisim, from the stories and the actions that the Gemara will bring now. The Machle eats the Chavrei, when a person hit the wife of his friend, and because of the bang she miscarried, so the Dayan would say to the husband, give your wife to this man to live with till she becomes pregnant, and like this she'll be able to pay you back with the baby that was miscarried from this man. The if somebody cut off the ear of the chamer of his friend, the Dayan would say to the Baal HaChamer, give the chameri to the one who cut off the ear till the ear grows back, and then he'll give you back a donkey with 2 ears. When when a person wound his friend, Amrulay Dayanim say to the one who wounded him, Havrele Agade Shakal Chadama, they would say to the person who was wounded, pay to the guy who wounded you because he did Akazas Dam for refuah, pay him the money. So according to the Chukei of Islam, somebody who passes over the water with a ship, then he pays 4 zuzim. But if he goes over the river through swimming, he pays 8 zuzim. One time, this Vasha, this launderer came to Zdaim, and he came to the place where they collect money for passing over the river. Those that are sitting by the toll booth, they said you have to give 4 zuzi to be able to go over the yard thing, over the water. I'll go through the water. I'm not going to go with the ferry. I'm going to walk through it and swim through it. If so, give 8 zuzim for this that you went through the water with your feet. So the Kavis didn't give any more money, but so the answers hit him, and he started to bleed. The Kavis came before the Dayanim to ask for the Debay Nazek that they wounded him. The Dayan said, first of all, give the guy who wounded you for Hakazas Adam. He says this, he let out blood for you for. Usmanya says and you have to give additional 8 zuzim for going through the water with your feet. Eliezer, the servant of Avram, happened to pass by Zdaim, they hit him and wounded him. Eliezer came before the Dayanim to claim for the wound that this guy gave him. The Dayan said to Eliezer, give this guy money for he did Hakazas Dam for you, he let out blood for you. Eliezer took a stick and he hit the Dayan and he wounded him. The Dayan said to Eliezer, what is this? Eliezer says that you guys say that whoever wounds another person, the one who was wounded has to pay for Hakazas Dam. So now you owe me money. The schad that is coming to me for me letting out your blood from your head. Now give it to the person who wounded me. My money will stay in my pocket like it was before. His name had a special bed, upon which they would put Archim to lie on. If the Eirach was too long, Gazile, they would cut off his feet to fit the size of the bed. Kigutz, if he was too short, Moschin lay, they would stretch out his goof till they would remove its limbs from its joints. Eliezer the son of Abraham, was invited to his time. His time said, come and lie in the bed. Eliezer said, I cannot lie in a bed because neither I made a neidish min the bisazima. From the day that his mother died, he's not going to sleep on a bed as a sign of mourning. So too, this Takbula Eliezer took, and it was saved him. He was saved from this this horrific thing that they shouldn't cut his feet if it was too long or if it was too short to stretch him out because he would not sleep on a bed. When an ani would come to Zdaim, everybody would give him a coin, and they would write the name on it. But they had an upmach between each other that they would not feed him any food. When he died, each one came and took his coin back, which had the names on the coins. This is how down they made a pact between each other. Whoever invites a guest that is not from the Teshuvah Dam to a Suda of marriage, they'll remove his clothing from him. One time there was a Suda Nasudian. That day, Ikla Eliezer Hasam. Eliezer was invited, happened to be there, and since he was a stranger, they didn't give him any food. When he wanted to eat, Eliezer Eliezer came to the Suda of a Nisuin of a marriage. And it's sat at the end of the table. They asked him, who invited you? And he said, Eliezer said to the one that's sitting on the side, you invited me. That person said to himself, oh my gosh. Even though it was false, maybe the people around me will believe that he invited him. And they'll have to take off his clothes, they'll take it away from him because of that pachat. That person who was sitting next to Eliezer, who Eliezer said he invited him, took his clothing and ran. And so he did, Eliezer did to each one that was sitting next to him. Till everybody left the simcha, and then Eliezer ate the whole suda for himself. Ravi said there was this Naira, this young girl, she would give out bread quietly in a pitcher when she would go to draw water. Eglaim Milsa became aware of it and decided to punish her in a very vicious way. They smeared her with honey. They placed her on the roof of the wall of the city. Asa Ziburi. The bees came to the Dabash Machlua and ate up the night. Bit up the whole night until she died. Hashem said the cries of Zedai Mameira is a lot. Rabba means riva, about this night that would feed the poor, and they tortured her by smearing honey on her, and the bees killing her. The Meraglim, the spies don't have a chedron habash. It says no, it says that then Nashim who said lashon hara about Eretz Yisrael died by Magefa. It says the lashon Vayimus at the beginning of the pasuk is referring to Elam Hazeh. By Magefa Elam Haba. Then in the pasuk where it says that they died by Magefa is referring to Elam Haba. Adas Keirach Elam Chedron Haba. The people of Keirach, the congregation of Keirach, don't have a chedron haba. Shanam, like it says in the pasuk with the chas aleim haaretz. The dirt covered them over. That's by the mazap. And they were lost from between the nation and Haba. Those are words of Akiva. Rabbi Elazar argues and says, "Aleim Mama Kasu Hashem make misab. Hashem make the kills. Umachayim revives. Made it show. He brings them down deep. And he takes them out." Dadas Keidach don't have a chedron habash, and then the chas aleim haaretz that the earth would cover them. That's by the mazal. Yevim v'teichakol leilam haba. Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira. Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira says, even though it says the word shenevdu that they were lost, that ain't kaveda mismakeshes. It's like aveda that the owners are still looking for it. And they find it after a long time. So they do have Elam Habash. And then, like it says in the Pasuk, by the Tefillah of David, about the Bnei Keirach, the Isik, he said, Eivet. Since they didn't forget about the Hebesh's mitzvahs, they were fulfilling all the mitzvahs. Therefore, David, that even though they strayed from their ways, and that's why they were lost from between the nation, nevertheless, Hashem is searching for them and to return to them, meaning that they will have Chayim Haba and that they will have Chayim Haba. He bought a bad merchandise. That he was missing, meaning through him many people of the Yisrael were missing because when they were swallowed into the ground. Ben Yitzhak, Ben Sheitiach, that he angered Olav on himself as Kalayla, the whole world. With a heavy anger, a burning anger, like the sun that shines really in the morning. And because of him, this ketzaf v'chema, this anger came on the whole Bnei Yisrael. Ben Kahaz, Ben Shehikashina Mailida, that caused that the father should be embarrassed in his evil actions. Ben Levi, Ben Shenasa Levaya B'Gehinam, a Ben that he was escorted with other people to Gehenna. Let us also count Ben Yaakov and Dashem Ben Shakav Atzmai, that the son who trampled on himself, meaning that he went himself to Gehinam because he made that because of his sin. So he stepped over his own feet to go to the Gehenna. Yaakov asked Rachmim already from before that his name should not be with them. Shenema, like it says in Bechas Yaakov to Shimon and Levi, B'Seidom, in their conspiracy, Alta v'Nafshi, B'Kolam, do not bring me into Alta v'Nafshi. In the conspiracy, don't bring my name in there. B'Kolam, in their gathering, Altecha Kvedi. Do not bring my glory, my covet. Say no, in the conspiracy, don't bring me. Elam Meraglim is referring to Meraglim. The Yaakov is, don't mention my name, and it's taka not mentioned. Side by, where do we see that? I was just looking for the pasuk. Okay, he doesn't, but it doesn't go back to Yaakov. It only goes back to Shimon. And in their gathering, they will not bring him my covet. This is referring to the gathering of Kairach. That it only goes up to Shevet Levi, but not up to Yaakov. Dasan Shav Das Kel, that he argued over Meisha, who is the chosen one. Aviram Shevet Atzmai, he caused himself to be destroyed. He was mechazik his heart, mas his tshuva. He strengthened his heart. He became action from doing tshuva ba'ain sheyashav anino's ain, because he sat in mourning. He was mitzdayer that at the beginning he decided he's going to join the Adas Kairach Ben Peles. Shanas alay plays that wonders happened to him, that he was saved from Adas Kairach Ben Bnei Reuven. Ein was a Bein Shera. What does it mean? Ein was Ben Reuven. A Bein Shera Vehaven. Reuven means Ra'u, and Bein is Bina. That the Maisa Kairach and Adase were not fitting for him, and he separated himself. Amarav Ein Ben Peles Ishti Silatu. Ein Ben Peles, his wife saved him. Amalei my nafkalach minan. His wife said, "What difference does it make to you? Imar Rabba no Talmida. If Moshe will be matzlich to win, you'll be his Talmud. Imar Rabba no Talmida. And if Kairach wins, you're going to be the Talmud of Kairach. So what gain do you have in involving yourself into this machlekes?" Amalah, Ein said, "You're right. My Ebed, what should I do? Avay b'atzas veitzav yishtav li ba'adayu. Yishtav li ba'adayu." She says, listen to the Seitza. And this is what she says. I know that all of Knesset Yisrael, including Kairach V'Adasei, who are Noshim Kedeshim and Snuyim, they will not come to me with my head that uncovered. The whole Eidah was a Kedeshim. Amr Lei. So she said to him, to his wife, the wife said to him too, go, return from your bad ways, because I'm going to save you. The wife says, she gave him to drink a lot of wine till he became shikah, and put him to sleep in the inner room in the tent. Then she sat at the entrance of the tent, and she undid her hair, told us anybody that would come from the Adas Kedach to call Oin Chazia, they would see that his wife was sitting with the revealed hair, and the hair of a woman is erba, and they were holy people. Hada, and they came back, and they never entered the house. In the meantime, when Ein was sleeping because of his being shikah, iballahu, the whole Adas Kairach was already swallowed into the ground. So you see, her actions, meaning the wife of Ein's actions, saved her husband from being mitzvah with Adas Kairach in their rebelling and in their punishment. The wife of Kedach said to her husband, Chazi, my covenant Moshe, look what Moshe did for himself. He took the Gedula for himself. He made himself a king. To his brother Aaron, he made him Kohen Gadol. To the children, his nephews, he made them for Sgana, assistant to the Kohen Gadol. And if Tuma comes and you take off Tuma from the Bnei Yisrael, from that Tuah, from the wine and the oil, Amar Tavi L'Kain. Moshe says that the Tuma should go to the Kain. Iyasa Maisa, they should kill Tatun. And if Maisation, that was separated, you Levim who have to take it, Amar, he says to you Levim, Habachat Ma'asa L'Kain. Moshe would say, give to the Kain a tenth of what you were receiving from the Maisa. The guy's like Lemazaicho. He cut all the hair of your body with a razor, and he plays with you. He mocks you like you're only a piece of tzoy, a piece of dung. Surely his eyes are looking on your hair, that he wanted to cut it in order that you shouldn't look as nice as he does. Amala, Kedach said to his wife, are you not covered? He himself cut off all his hair, like he told us, and he's also Levi. So if he did that to degrade us, why did he do it to himself? Since the whole matter of whole purpose of all these actions is in order to become greater, he's not concerned to cut or shave himself. He also said to himself, like the words of Shimshin, Thomas Navshim Plishim, that I should die together with the Plishtim, and he's ready to embarrass himself that he can make fun of all of you. Hey, the Kamalachol Avdisa Chelta. The Moshe said to you, make a psilt cheles tzitzis on the four corners of a baguette. If it enters your mind that you need Tchela is the blue wool for the mitzvah, so why is it only on the strings? Take out the whole garment that has Tchelas and cover yourselves like that in the Beis Medrash. Surely this that Moshe told you only the strings of Tchelas is because he has a cheap eye and he doesn't want you to have any covet. This is what it says in the pasuk. The wisdom of women, in comparison of Ein's wife to Kair's wife, that's what the Gemara wants to show you. The wisdom of women build houses. That's referring to the wife of Ein ben Peles. And the foolish ones destroyed with their own hands. That's referring to the wife of Kairach.